Hi, I'm Chef Gail Sokol and welcome to my kitchen. Today it's muffin madness. We're making lemon poppy seed muffins that are going to be spectacular for breakfast, for brunch, for Mother's Day, for Father's Day, for a birthday, for a lunch at your children's school. It is a dish, a baked good worthy of anything because it only takes a short amount of time and looks like $1,000,000. It is easy. So before I get started, I'd like you to push that notification button and become a subscriber so you can see all my tips and fabulous videos. All right, so let's get started. Most of my muffin videos use what's known as the muffin method of mixing. All right, that's 2 bowls, dry ingredients, wet ingredients, and you combine them. Here, we're going to be using the creaming method. So it's going to be a cakier muffin. So you're going to get a little cake, individual little cake that you have to share with no one but yourself in these lemon poppy seed muffins. So what I like to do is I like to start my creaming method of mixing 2 things, softened butter and granulated sugar. And if you want to see a great tips video, I have a creaming method and why we use the creaming method and how it works on one of my videos, so check it out. 1 stick of butter, that's 8 tablespoons of softened unsalted butter. 1 1/4 cups of granulated sugar, and I put it right in there. Some chefs actually soften the butter first with the paddle, and you only want to use the paddle attachment here. But I like to put them both in together. Remember that sugar is going to act like sandpaper and actually force air into that fat, into that softened butter. And it does have to be a solid fat. That's the difference between the muffin method of mixing and the creaming method. The muffin method uses a liquid fat, melted butter, or oil. Here we're using solid fat because we're actually going to create air cells in that fat in which our baking powder is going to work together like a team player with those air cells. And the baking powder is going to form carbon dioxide and enlarge the cells that the sugar and the butter creates. So while we let that go for a while, you want to let it cream for a few minutes until the butter turns almost white. That's how you know it's been aerated. In the meantime, I have my flour. I'm going to whisk my dry ingredients together. So I have 2 cups of all-purpose flour here, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to whisk this up because you want your chemical leavener, baking powder, to get perfectly blended in with the remainder of your dry ingredients. And then I think this is ready, so I'm going to stop it. And then I'm going to take 2 tablespoons, and if you want them to be heaping, go ahead. Poppy seeds, we're going to put them right in there. And I want to make sure I did use 2 tablespoons because they are, look at, you can see them, they look like little dots, little polka dots in our dry ingredients already. It's amazing. So, now, I'm going to set that aside because we're going to need that in a little while. Now, let me show you what this looks like. So it's almost white. I'll show you the bowl. But you want to get this sugar and butter really sort of what we refer to as creaming. And you've seen me do this before. But because there's so much sugar, you can see it's sort of a lump. It's not light and fluffy like some of my cakes are. And that's because it's a muffin, so we're not going to get that creaminess that you might see, that light and fluffiness, and that's fine. That's just because there's more sugar than butter. All right, so what I want to do now is I want to take my lemon zest. This is zest from 1 lemon, a big lemon. And you only want to zest the colored portion. If you want to see some tips on how to properly use citrus fruits, check out my video on citrus tips. So I'm going to put the lemon zest in with the butter and the sugar because I want it to get homogeneously blended right now. Did you ever mix something in with the dry ingredients, like lemon zest or lime zest, and it just doesn't blend in? There's one big clump. I don't want that, so I really want to get this blended in. 2 large eggs. This is part of the creaming method of mixing. So once I have my light and fluffy with my butter and sugar, and it has gotten a little fluffier now that I've continued, you're going to turn it to low speed. You're going to add 1 egg. And I crack the eggs in a liquid measuring cup or a bowl or whatever. Don't crack them directly in the mixer. All right, you'll end up with crunchies, and then you'll have to lie and say you have nuts in your lemon poppy seed muffins. Nobody appreciates that. Once it's combined, add the other egg. So you want to just add 1 at a time. You're building an emulsion. You're building a water and fat emulsion. You're actually creating water-based and fat-based ingredients and getting them to emulsify, and the yolk of the egg is helping us do that. Now, in the meantime, I'm going to add a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract and a teaspoon of lemon extract right now. If you wanted to add them to your eggs, you could. You might see your eggs look curdled. That's because of the little bit of the alcohol in the extracts, but it's not going to hurt it at all. Now, this is what the creaming method is all about. You're going to alternate dry and wet ingredients. Let me grab a big spoon. And you always start with dry ingredients, alternate with wet, end with dry. So we're going to, on low speed, we're going to add half. Some cakes you'll see 1/3 that are added. We're adding half because this is a muffin. We don't have as much batter. I'm going to add half of my dry ingredients. On low speed, we don't want to create too much gluten. We just want enough gluten to have our beautiful muffins stay together. But this is a nice tender muffin because we have all that beautiful butter in it. In them, I should say. Next, I'm going to add, very slowly, half a cup of milk. Could be whole milk, could be fat-free milk, could be oat milk, whatever you like, whatever you can, whatever you'd like to add to your baked goods. Could slowly put it in. So we're going dry, wet, and we're going to end with dry. All right. And if you want, and if you feel you need to do this, you can actually go around with your rubber spatula. So you can see I've got this beautiful batter. And sometimes it looks a little curdled from the emulsion forming, but it's not quite there yet. So sometimes you have to sort of add the rest of your dry ingredients before you see it all come together in this beautiful, beautiful batter. So don't get upset if it does look a little curdled. Not a problem. Now the remainder of your dry ingredients. Get them all in there, and that's your batter. Now I have preheated my oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit, and I have greased or sprayed with nonstick cooking spray 12 standard muffin cups. So you do whatever you want to do. You can even make jumbo muffins, and this recipe would make only 6 of those. All right, and you don't want to overmix here because, again, we don't want to create gluten. Let me show you what this beautiful batter. It's, oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. It does need a final mixing, but look at that. Lovely, lovely, lovely. You can see it's emulsified. You can see that everything is beautifully blended in. So we're going to clean off our paddle. All right, and we're going to get our muffin cups ready. I don't line them with paper. I never said to line them with paper. I said to grease them. I find, and if you want to line them with the paper liners, you can. I always go around. You know how the mixer has that little bump on the bottom. So make sure everything gets blended and you have all the flour blended in and all the dry ingredients without overmixing. There we have it. All right. So if you want to put paper liners in, you can. But what I like is if you grease all the way around or spray with nonstick cooking spray, you're going to end up with a muffin that's higher because the liner is sort of the limit. The muffin sort of goes up to the liner sometimes and doesn't always go above. So I'm going to take an ice cream scoop. I'm going to fill these about 2/3 full, 3/4 full. Don't overfill, but don't underfill either, because if you want tinier muffins, you can. But I like them big. And we're going to put a beautiful, beautiful icing on these, lemon icing on these. And maybe an extra sprinkling of the poppy seeds, right? Yes. If you don't want to, you don't have to, but I don't think anyone, you're not arguing with me, I don't think. So, and if you notice, I did grease around. It's a little bit greased in between the muffins because when they grow, you want them to come out. All right. You could even make mini muffins if you wanted. I did say the jumbo muffins are easily made. You may have to decrease your baking time for mini muffins or increase your baking time for the jumbos, but not by much. These bake in about 30 to 35 minutes, and you want a knife to be coming out clean with no batter attached. All right. And if you see anybody that needs a little more, you can always add it. All right. So these are going to go into my oven for 30 to 35 minutes at 375 degrees. So my yummy lemon poppy seed muffins have come out of the oven, and mine actually took closer to 25 minutes. Check your oven. My oven tends to run hot, but they may need less than 30 minutes. Check it out. They got nice and brown, and you can see that beautiful poppy seeds throughout. So now we're going to put a little lemon icing. And I like to make a lot, okay? So don't be judgy. I like the icing. So I have 1 1/4 cups of confectioner's sugar. If you want to make a little bit less, I'd put in like a cup. And then I have a little less exact measurement of lemon juice. And this is the lemon juice that we zested our lemon from. So I'm going to put in about a tablespoon first. And here is where things get a little tricky. You need to sort of check it out and see how much you might need, because it varies to how you measured your confectioner's sugar. Did you pack it? Did you add too much, too little? So you're going to have to drizzle just enough lemon juice in here to bring it to a nice spreadable frosting. We don't want anything drippy. All right, I'm not into drippy frostings, and this is too thick. So we definitely want to, and when you get to that point, you want to put it in by drops. So sometimes I will bring my rubber spatula over just to get it just right. So you want a little bit looser than this. You want it to be spreadable, almost like an actual frosting. Now, if you like to drizzle things, you can get it a little bit thinner, but be warned, okay? Be warned. You can go from beautiful and thick to thin and weepy and drizzly within a matter of a few drops of lemon juice. So be careful. I've done it. I've had students do it. So be careful. Be on the conservative side. It's better to add. You can't subtract. And then you're going to say, well, I'm going to have to go and add more sugar. Well, you don't want to be in that catch-22 where you're adding sugar and then, oh my gosh, it's now too dry. Now I have to add more lemon juice. That's crazy. So again, we're going to do a little drizzle again. So I just have that full amount of juice from that lemon. And I'm just going to take my time in forming this beautiful icing. And this is literally just lemon juice and confectioner's sugar. It's known as a simple glaze or a simple icing. You can make it as thin. I use this on pound cakes. Sometimes instead of lemon juice, I'll put in maple syrup. I'll put in cream or milk, depending on what flavor, or just vanilla extract and a little milk, just depending on what flavor profile I'm going for. Oh, now we're talking. Okay, you see that? That's nice. That's nice. And don't eat it. Don't eat it. Well, if there's any left over, you can eat it. But this is perfect. Look at this. You see that? It's thick, but it sort of waits a bit before gravity works, okay? So now I'm going to take an offset spatula. I have some poppy seeds for sprinkling. And I'm just going to take, now if the warmer the muffin, the more spread you're going to get when you spread your frosting. So these are cooler. Okay, they're barely warm. And you can get a nice spread. So do whatever you want to do. You know, do you. And then little poppy seed. Sort of gives everyone a heads up of what's in there. And then you're going to let this sort of set. And then I love to put them on a footed beautiful cake stand and serve them. And these would be great for a brunch, for a breakfast, for Mother's Day, hint, hint. Or for, like I said, for your dad. I know my mom loves lemon. She's a lemon lover. So she loves these. And some people don't like nuts and things like that. So this is like a perfect dessert. It's not really that unhealthy because you're not eating the whole stick of butter yourself. And it makes 12 of these beautiful lemon poppy seed muffins. So remember, it's easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And I hope you become a subscriber and I hope you make these muffins because they're outrageous. Till next time.